hello everybody, I'm Timo. I work in cybersecurity for SandboxAQ, and I'm here with Tom for a little chat about quantum computing and quantum security.
Hey, and I'm Tom Patterson. I run Accenture's global quantum security business, and we're here at Davos 2026 this year, and boy, it's been fun for the quantum world, that's for sure.
Very good point. It's day 4, we're about to wrap up here. What's been your overall experience, especially as it comes to quantum computing?
Yeah, so Timo, as you know, this is my 8th year coming to Davos, and in the beginning it was very much me shouting from a mountaintop, hey, you should care about quantum security, it's coming, it's going to be an issue. This year it's just completely turned around. So you walk through the Congress Center, there's giant screens running loops of my explainer videos going, this is what it means, this is how you take advantage of it, this is what you do next. So there's a lot of questions of not about is it real, but their questions are, what do I do about it? How do I do it? What do I do, how do I do it in this organization or that country? And so those combinations of questions have really evolved to a point that it's really fun to be here and to be here with companies like Sandbox that really has something to offer. They have a big important part of these solutions that everybody now is working towards globally. And it's not just the CISO, the security people, it's the business people, it's the CIOs, it's the purchasing departments. Everyone comes together to really solve this problem. That's one of the things that Davos is so perfect for. This is where we can think big, we can think globally, we can figure out what standards needs to happen and how do we get this software to the right places, to the right people. And that's what's happening now in Davos 2026. It's been a really exhilarating week.
Very good, very good. Is it like just for our audience to compare, right? Like the last big sort of threat to global infrastructure or global systems, maybe that's known to the public is the Y2K kind of threat, right?
Yeah.
How would you compare the quantum threat like to this one in terms of the risk level and how fast do we have to move? What can we do about it?
Well, what I ask people to bring that up is how much has your organization evolved in the last 25 years since Y2K? And the answer is we are now completely dependent on technology. Everything is done with technology. And every bit that moves, everything that you say while you're watching this video, everything is encrypted. And so that's the encryption that is going to change. It's going to change in absolutely everything we do, the devices and the networks and all your third parties, your ecosystems, everyone's going to change at about the same time to something new that's never been tried. So this is a really big deal. Companies get this. The good news is while it's big and important and you have to do it, there is a known set of solutions. There's new standards, there's new direction to get there. You guys build really good software that helps ease that transition and make it more organized and an easier way to get it done. But the fact that it doesn't require magic, you don't have to invent something new. We know what needs to be done. It's just a matter of going through the process and getting it done. And that's where pretty much everybody that came to Davos 2026 is like, okay, we as a country need to have standards on this, or we as a company need to make this change for us and for the 6 levels of suppliers that sell to us. So everyone's figuring out to do that today.
Okay. And how much of the problem, so I mean, as a root, it's a deeply technical problem, right? But you said there are practical solutions and the path is basically there. How much of the problem then is organizational? Like how much actually are humans the problem here?
Yeah, so there's education that absolutely has to happen, and that's one thing that Accenture in our quantum security business does a lot with. We go in and we build strategies for our clients, and we help educate all the different aspects, the components of an organization, so that they understand what their role is. So there's a whole operation around discovering, after we do the strategy, we do the discovery, and we find in an organized way using high level of automation, and especially with your software automation with the artificial intelligence built in to make it even better. But that's the ability to come in and build that catalog of what it is that has to happen. Okay, we have all this stuff that needs to change. Then you get into, which is where we are in 2026, actually making those upgrades. And the more we can do that seamlessly so that the users don't have to see it. More than half of the web traffic now is already enabled for post-quantum. But most people don't know that. They don't need to know that. We don't care if they know that. We just want them to, if there is a need, that they can do that. The real push is it's going to take a few years for clients to get through the process. Most of them have, at least at our level, at Accenture's level, they have a very complicated, diverse infrastructure and enterprise. So going through all that, cataloging all that, finding it in all the different pieces, and then figuring out a way to very effectively do the upgrades without having to bring in forklifts or need bags of cash. And that's where Accenture comes in. We can do this the most economical and efficient way on a global basis.
I like the proactive approach here, right? Like proactively scanning your inventories, figuring out how to sequence it, how to replace everything. But at some point, I think there's going to be a stick that needs to come in, right? And the stick is going to be in form of regulation, right? How do you see the global landscape here? Like, how far are we to have the concrete laws or policies? How fragmented is the world here?
So I think you're seeing different kinds of sticks. Accenture works closely in the standards world and the regulatory bodies. So we're here in Europe. They have something called DORA, which controls financial organizations. They have something called NIS2, which also works in the payment side. These are saying you must make these transition to the new modern encryption. The other kind of stick, though, is what the U.S. is doing. Usually, it doesn't lead with the standards and doesn't lead with the regulations. It eventually gets there, but it doesn't generally lead the world there. They use the stick of the buying power, and that's something that the new administration has absolutely made law now through executive orders. So if you are a company and you sell something to the U.S. government, you have to be post-quantum secure. And you have to show that you've done an inventory and you've done that discovery work, and here's the answer, and here's your plan to remediate, or you can't sell. And so that's the buying power and the regulations. In different parts of the world, you have different leaders of those two, and then some places you combine the power. But the drive is on. Everyone has accepted that we should have at least our critical parts of our business protected by 2030. And no one knows when we'll find out that an adversary can actually break our encryption, but we want to make sure that our clients at Accenture are ready for that moment, and that's what we're all about.
Better to be prepared. Last question, very short one. When do you think D-Day is coming? Would you wager a prediction here?
Now we call it Q-Day, but
Q-Day, of course.
All we know is that year is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Just a few years ago, everybody had pretty much said 2035. Now, most governments are around 2030. Some industries that just cannot fail have moved it back to 2029, 2028. So we're already 2026. Now at Accenture, with our clients, we measure in quarters until this is done, not in years anymore. So this is happening. We know it takes some time to go through it, even with your software. And so we want to get them going down that path, get the remediation done of the most important things. And then you'll find that you can actually run better, faster, and cheaper with a better use of encryption as part of your overall defense for the rest of your lives.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
All right, great seeing you.
Same here.
Enjoy the rest of Davos.
And you.
Yeah, thank you.